Winter Rose, written by Panwadee, Ponglada ITTIMAKIN. A romantic novel about a girl who was born and grew up in the USA. The story, with predominantly young, vital characters, is entertaining and absorbing and leads the reader to consider the nature of virtue and obligation. Just citation: 7 book awards. Winter Rose, Episode 1. The weather was bitingly cold, and snow was swirling down from the leaden skies, finally losing strength and coming to rest on the branches and the ground, where the blades of grass cradle it like puffs of pure cotton. Before long, the parched gray-brown earth of the winter landscape was blanketed in white, but even then, the snow did not cease falling. The old maple tree around which the squirrels were accustomed to frolic in warmer days was reduced to a skeleton of brown branches and twigs. Some days, when the weather was a little warmer, the squirrels poked out their faces from the cracks in the gnarled trunk, but, afraid of the cold blizzard, did not dare to venture out to play as before. A young girl sat watching the falling snow to her heart's content from the warm sitting room where orange flames were leaping from the logs burning in the grate. She put down the book she was reading on the wooden coffee table standing on primrose yellow carpet adorned with flowers before raising herself out of the yellow armchair with a floral motif that matched the French curtains draped elegantly on both sides of the window. The owner of the house had derived the inspiration for everything in this room from the wooden bookcase and small table for the lamp to the writing desk and upholstery from the designs Laura Ashley. The vase of flowers in the corners of the room and on the table made the room look homely and attractive. The girl walked up to the window and, as was her custom when it was snowing, rubbed a hole in the wheel of condensation, covering the window with her graceful white fingers in order to see the outside scenes more clearly. Whenever she stayed home, she was fond of sitting and gazing out like this. As she watched the cold crisp snow, she thought about the hot humidity of Thailand, the country to which she owed half of her birthright. However, the things that her mother had told her about tropical Thailand seemed a whole world away from New Jersey, where the late March weather was often snowy like this. She continued daydreaming, oblivious to the fact that someone was calling her name. "Irie, where are you?" The voice came closer and closer until it could no longer be ignored, and Irie turned away from the window to regard the person calling her, a plump woman who had already reached the sitting room door. "I may have known that you would be here watching the snow." The voice was soft and full of tenderness for Irie, whose face betrayed her half-Oriental, half-Western parentage. With her dark brown hair, the color of almond husk, contrasting with the bright pink ribbon which tied it back, Irie smiled sweetly and innocently before going to hug the woman's plump waist. The weather forecast said it would snow tonight. It isn't even dusk, but it is already falling. Her voice was youthful and clear as she addressed the middle-aged woman whom she called mother. The weather is unpredictable this year. Our neighbor, Grandma Lena, went to Florida to escape the cold and came back just yesterday, thinking that as this is the beginning of spring, it should be getting warmer. I'm sure she must be complaining now that she has returned and it is still snowing. This must be a cold front coming from Canada. This is what the weather forecast predicted. I really love it when it snows like this. It is more beautiful than summer. See, I know how you feel. I know that when it snows, this is your favorite place, so I could easily find you, said the plump-faced woman with blonde hair done up in a bun as she smiled back. Did you want me for something? Asked Irie. Have you forgotten? You are going to a party this evening with your brother. Irie was startled when she remembered this. Oh my goodness! I was so engrossed watching the snow that I completely forgot. Do you think Cody will get angry with me? As Irie's smooth face puckered into a worried frown, the older woman tried to hide her concern that her daughter persisted in worshipping her brother Cody, who was more than 10 years older than her. She told herself, however, that she could do no more than that wait for her to grow up and make her own decisions. You still have time to get ready. If you hurry, I will come and help you. The exquisite young girl rushed in front of her mother out of the sitting room, full of concern that the brother she adored would be angry with her and would not invite her to go anywhere with him again. The reflection in the full-length mirror showed the figure of a lovely young girl, dressed according to the fashion dictates of the day, in a pink dress with a round neck, puffed sleeves. The gathered skirt ended a little above the knee, revealing fat legs in white stocking that matched her fat white palms. Irie primed at herself in the mirror before turning away. You look so pretty this evening, Irie. I'm sure that Cody will compliment you on your appearance. Really? Replied Irie earnestly. Really? You know how fond of you Cody is. He has arrived before I have even finished speaking. Wait here. Let him come looking for you, Karen added in order to prevent her daughter darting off as soon as she heard the sound of the car parking in the garage at the side of the house. Soon after this, a good-looking man in his early 30s with fair hair and deep blue eyes appears in the doorway, bursting with happiness. Irie rushed over to her brother as soon as she saw him and grasped his arm. You look so pretty tonight, Irie. Turn around and let me look at you. Irie's round cheeks brushed at these words. before she felt the need to check that he was not teasing her. Is that the truth? You aren't saying that just to please me? Have I ever told you a lie? Are you ready to go? He gestured with his hand for his sister to lead the way out of the room. The weather is bad, so don't come back too late, Cody, the older woman said with concern. Don't worry, I will make sure that this little princess gets back home before midnight, promised Cody, reassuring, kissing his mother on the cheek. Karen walked with her son and daughter to the front door, standing and watching until the car had turned out of the driveway before going back into the house. The black sports car sped along Garden State Parkway through the still falling snow. Before long, it turned into a narrow, winding mountain road, lined on both sides with tall trees, the snow caught in their leafless dark brown branches, glittering in the light from the headlamps beaming through the mist. Here too, the fresh green shoots of spring that had already dared to emerge had been blanketed in white by the unseasonable snowfall. The darkness concealed almost everything around them until, turning right through a white fence, the car drew up in front of a large, imposing white house on the hillside. Whose house is this, Cody? Iris questioned her brother, never having been there before. Wait and see, replied Cody. Iris' curiosity was further aroused. Iris' curiosity was further aroused by her brother's lack of information, but not daring to ask any more, in case he became annoyed. She followed him quietly into the imposing mansion. Are you warmer now? Cody asked his sister. Iris' coat was not adequate to block out the cold, but feeling Cody's arms around her shoulder was enough to make her glow. However, Iris had no time to answer directly, as Cody ushered her into the party, held in a big, dimly lit room. The subdued lighting made it difficult to distinguish the guests, but hearing the sound of animated conversation, Iris glanced over in that direction. A glamorous woman with shoulder-length, wavy blonde hair, wearing a short, figure-hugging red evening dress that revealed sexy shoulders, came over to them. Iris felt a little envious, especially when she greeted Cody like a close friend. She quickly outwitted her guest to hide her feeling. Iris, let me introduce you to my friend, said Cody, tapping her on the arm. Iris turned back and smiled sweetly at the beautiful woman who was the focus of her brother's attention. Cody, my bro, have you already forgotten me? Iris said to herself, gazing into the face of the attractive blonde. Hi, I'm Pamela. But why don't you call me Pam, like Cody? Iris' mind was in turmoil. Cody must be really close to her. The more I think about it, the more upset I am. This woman is probably the reason why he comes to see me at home so seldom now. And now, he suddenly invites me to this party when he hasn't asked me to go anywhere with him for so long. Iris struggled to hide these feelings. As she introduced herself, I am Iria Winston. If you want to speak to your boyfriend, then go ahead. I won't disturb you. Fumed Iris jealously, silently listening while Cody apologized to Pam. It's a really bad night, so we arrived late. You are not angry? Don't worry, darling. Let's go and talk with our friends over there. Look, they are signaling to us. See, Cody, darling. I hope this cozy twosome soon gets broken up, thought Iris, seeing their friends beckoning to them. Cody appeared to be in a dilemma, and Pamela watching Cody closely, swiftly intervened. My younger brother's friend would love to meet Iris. Let's go over there. Even Pam's praise irritated Iris. Good idea, said Cody with some relief. Then Iris will have friends to talk to. Again, Cody is following her lead again. Seated Iris inwardly. If I had known before we left home that we would sit at different tables, I would never have come. Going over to the table, Iris found a group of young people sitting there. Bob, this is Iris. Iris, Bob, said Pamela, introducing them before taking Cody away to her friend's table. Iris stole a sidelong glance at her brother and perceived his happiness. Hiding her inner pain, she tried to get along with her new friends, sitting and listening to them chattering. Their conversation always revolved around which boys were dating which girls. Iris had no experience of romance, so she sat sipping the glass of orange punch in front of her to kill time. It was a rowdy party with sounds of chattering and laughing mixing freely with the music. However, everyone fell silent when the MC went onto the platform and took up the microphone to speak. Iris did not pay much attention to what he was saying until she heard herself being invited to go on to the stage, along with the blonde woman in the red dress. Everyone turned to look at her and clapped. Even worse, Pamela came across to her table so they could go on to the platform together. Everything was happening too quickly. Without having time to think, Iris went out to the front with Pamela, blushing furiously, and stood there as the waitress wheeled on an ornate trolley on which there were 2 birthday cakes. The large, beautifully decorated chocolate cake was for Pamela, and the other smaller but no less beautiful cake was for Iris. Iris was blissfully happy, attributing all this to her brother, who was standing close by encouraging her. The sound of everyone singing "Happy Birthday to You" filled the air at the end of the song, as the 2 girls, so different in appearance, leaned over to blow out their candles together. Iris saw her brother coming closer and thought that he would kiss her cheek to wish her happy birthday. She was, however, seriously mistaken. It was Pamela who Cody not only hugged but also kissed on the lips. Iris turned away, hot tears tempering in her eyes, while the room was filled with the sound of cheering and clapping. Irene lowered her face and eyes to hide her confusion and cut the cake into slices while her brother led Pamela onto the dance floor that soon became filled with happy couples. Irene and one of her new friends, a studious-looking man wearing eyeglasses, were soon dancing among them. After a few dances, however, she asked to go back to their table because her partner had trodden all over feet. Irene looked back to the dance floor in search of her brother and was distressed not to see him anywhere. "Where's Cody?" she asked herself before setting off in search of him. There was no sign of him in the lounge, and neither could she find him in the dining room. The only place left to look was upstairs. Although Irene did not believe that her brother would be up there, the potent mixture of concern and curiosity as to what he could be doing impelled her to creep up the stairs unobserved. She peered into several rooms, but could find no trace of him until finally, losing interest, Irene decided that she would go back down to her bespectacled partner. At least, Irene consoled herself. Cody has to take me home. He promised me on that. Irene had just started to go down the stairs when she heard the rippling sound of a woman's happy laughter. Turning to follow the sound, she realized it was coming from behind the closed door of one of the bedrooms. More laughter, now louder, followed. "That sounds like Pamela," said Irene to herself before knocking on the door a couple of times. The laughter stopped. After a split-second silence, a man's firm voice inquired, "Who is it?" Thoughts surged through Iris' mind. "Cody, what are you doing in this room with this woman?" she asked herself despairingly. Her hands and lips trembled as she answered audibly, "It's me, Iris." The door opened and her brother stood there, having quickly pulled on some clothes, his fair hair still disheveled. Iris' heart pounded when she saw the figure of Pamela standing behind Cody and holding his shoulders lovingly. Even though Iris was totally inexperienced, she could guess what had taken place in the room, and her face flushed with embarrassment. "What are you doing here?" Cody asked, ashamed that his little sister had to witness this scene. I couldn't see you anywhere, Cody, so I looked for you. I heard a woman laughing, and I thought it was Pamela, so I knocked on the door and found you here. Anyway, I will leave you now." Iris' voice wavered as she spoke. Iris fled down the staircase, stung with disappointment and overwhelmed by a potent mixture of distress, despair, and hopelessness. More than this, she blamed herself for being so naive and strangling her brother's happiness unintentionally. "Are you angry?" Cody asked Iris bluntly. "No," Iris replied. Cody remained silent and studied his sister's face before adding, "I know you are angry, seeing me behave in that way. I'm so sorry. But you have to understand that Pam and I are in love. We plan to get married very soon. You grew up in this country, so you surely understand that when young people go out together, it is normal for them to have an affair. Your friends at school were already dating when they were 13 or 14 years old, right? That's their own business, snapped Irie. I'm Catholic, so I wouldn't surrender my virginity so easily before marriage. The young girl believed that it was wrong for young people to sleep around, not only because she was Catholic. She thought of herself as still being a child. Although at school, she had studied about birth control, Iris still thought she was not ready to have a sexual encounter and did not want to risk contracting AIDS. Now her beliefs and her opinions caused her brother to shake his head in despair, convinced that she was a stubborn child, unwilling to accept the truth of the situation. Cody knew it was useless to say more at this time. His affection for his sister caused him to be quiet on the way back home. When they arrived back, Ivory opened the car door by herself. Wait a minute. Why are you in such a hurry? Cody asked, his hand grasping her arm to restrain her before presenting her with a birthday gift. I won't be able to come to your party on your actual birthday, so I will give you your present in advance now. I won't come in the house. Explain to mother for me. Good night and sweet dream, little one. Thanks. Iris stood motionless, listening to the sound of her beloved brother's sports car fading into the night before entering the house. Has Cody gone home? Asked her mother, wearing a dressing gown over her pajamas as she came out of the sitting room. Yes. Why didn't you ask him to stay the night? He had to go right away. Iris' voice betrayed her disappointment and the fact that she was close to tears. Have you had a disagreement? No, nothing. It's late. I'm going to bed now. Well, if you don't want to tell me about it, that's all right. Get some rest. You will feel better about everything tomorrow, and we can talk then. Good night, Mom. Good night. Iris kissed her mother's cheek before leaving the sitting room and making her way to her bedroom, leaving her mother to wonder what could have happened. Iris' bedroom was perfectly proportioned for one person. The curtains and walls were both pale cream, and the bed in the corner had a shelf for her large family of dolls and teddy bears. The wall at the foot of the bed was decorated with a life-size poster of the rock singer Bon Jovi, a native son of New Jersey. On the small bedside table were a reading lamp and a family photograph showing her parents, her elder brother, and Ivy herself with rounded cheeks, a beaming smile, and protruding fit teeth. Ivy picked up the photo and gazed at it, while tears of anguish coursed down her cheeks. Mingling with her sobs, memories of when this photo had taken came flooding back. She was not yet 6 years old, chubby, with brown hair straggling over her cheeks. Sobbing, she ran after a young fair-haired man walking towards a red sports car parked in front of the house. The sound of her sobbing was loud enough to attract his attention, and turning back, he scooped her up in his arms to console her. "Don't cry. Be a good girl, Irie. I'm not going anywhere. I'm just going off to college. It won't be long. I will come back to see you soon." "I don't want you to go. Don't go." The little girl continued to sob. Karen came just in time to help explain the situation. "Cody's going to college. You must stay home with me." "I will go too. I will go to college with Cody," persisted the little plump girl, refusing to give in. "Be a good girl, Irie. Stop crying, and I will take you for a drive." Her brother's statement had an immediate effect. The little girl stopped crying and with a prompt hand wiped away her tears. "I never thought that I would have such a little crybaby for a sister," Cody jested with his mother. "Cody, don't give in to your sister all the time, or else she will be obstinate," his mother warned him. "Don't worry, mother. When Irie grows up, she will have her own circle of friends, and I will have to bribe her to do anything for me," said Cody, smiling to reveal his gleaming white teeth. "I'm glad to hear it. Now, where are you taking her?" "Oh, I will just drive her around until she forgets all this. We won't go far then. I will bring her home." As Cody finished speaking, he picked up his little plump sister, who was now smiling through her tears. She had got her own way and made him take her for a ride. "Now you are smiling, you chubby little crybaby," he teased her good naturally, ruffling her brown hair before turning the ignition key and driving out of the grounds of the large Victorian-style house, built on the hillside and surrounded by green lawns. I really remember that, at that time, the greatest happiness in her life had been to be with her big brother. Whenever Cody went anywhere, Irie would cry to make him give in to her. That day had been no different. Her mother told her later that her brother had taken her for a ride, as promised, and she was already fast asleep by the time he had brought her back home. Her brother had duly gone off to college. In the holidays, he came to visit and play with her until it was time for him to go back to college again. Then Irie would cry and wail once more. This pattern repeated itself for several years, only changing when Irie started school and made new playmates there. But even now, she had not forgotten that she had to be the most important person in her brother's life. Recalling this, tears poured down her cheeks as she realized with distress that Cody was now interested in someone else, that she loved this person more than herself. In her adolescent mind, she hated any woman who stole Cody's love away from her and could not rest until she found a way to regain her brother's full attention. Irie lay pondering over this until a smile crept over her face. Soothed by the thought, drowsiness overwhelmed her, and she fell asleep with the photograph clasped to her breast.